Christina Vogel. We move on now to the points race, and as always, keep up with me and we'll make sure that we all get through and keep an idea of who is winning the points race. Points on offer all the time on the various laps, and 20 points if you take a lap on the rest of the field. So there will be 120 laps of this points race, 30 kilometers, 12 sprints along the way, and the riders now lining up, as you can see. Well, the points race then, all lining up. Thanks to all of you who've sent us comments on Twitter tonight, at @Macross and at UCI_track. And also thank you to at Carly McCulloch for all her insights. Very, very useful to have her commentating tonight on the initial stages of the racing. So here's the lineup then of the men's points race. The sprints will happen every 10 laps, 12 sprints along the way, 120 laps. 30 kilometers of racing. And we'll introduce all the riders to you when things get going. News today then that Dame Sarah Story's world hour record attempt will be broadcast live worldwide next weekend. So a week on Saturday from London, 2:30 in the afternoon London time is the time of Dame Sarah Story's world hour record attempt. And it will be broadcast live across the world on a live stream. So here is the points race then, the riders up on the track. 30 kilometers, 120 laps of this 250-meter racetrack. 12 sprints along the way, so a sprint every 10 laps. And those are for points, 5, 3, 2, and 1. And if you take a lap, you also get 20 points. And the rider with the most points at the end of the race will be the overall winner. Well, actually 160 laps. So what is written down on my start sheet has now become 160 laps as opposed to 120 laps. So let's just explain it to you again. 160 laps of the track, sprints along the way. You'll hear those signified by the bell. 5, 3, 2, and 1 points on offer on the sprint laps, and 20 points for the rider who takes a lap. And the rider with the most points at the end of the race will be the overall winner of the points race. As a straight race, the world champion will be crowned at the end of the 160 laps of racing. So just the riders settling down into the rhythm. The Ukrainian rider on the front of the string then in the turquoise colours, Vitaly Hirnev. And the riders generally settle into their rhythm, ride into the pace, normally very, very fast this race. And in fact, the points race last year on the track was, I think, the most exciting points race we have ever seen. So the Belgian rider now on the front of the string. That's Moreno de Pau, rides for the Top Sport Vlaanderen team on the road. And now the Spanish rider takes it to the front of the race in the red and yellow. Also in this field then for the United States of America, you can just see him, he's just swung up the track. An interesting story, Nicholas Rogers comes from Philadelphia. I'm sure he's very thankful to all the Philadelphia community who've enabled him to race here in these World Championships. He's never really ridden at this world level before, but he rides very strongly on the track in the United States, and so he's here for good experience. And of course the local community helped him get here. An attack now at the front, and the Polish rider Czelarski has now gone on the move to try and take a lap on the rest of the field. Looking pretty smooth, has an advantage. The attack comes and the chase. Liam Bertazzo of Italy looking to try and mix things up a little bit. So the first sprint, Czelarski takes it, he decides to swing up. 5 points to him, Bertazzo takes 3, Pau takes 2, and Thomas of France takes 1. So that is the leaderboard. So sprints every single 10 laps, 16 sprints along the way. I do agree with you on Twitter, Francois Purvis doing it again. Impressive performance by the Frenchman. Right now, he is on fire. He really has given the French fans something to scream and shout about on this track. And now the Ukrainian rider takes a little bit of a move off the front. And the front of the race being pointed out there by the commissaire on the inside of the track. Coming up now with 6 laps to go to the next sprint. Czelarski of Poland, 5 points. Bertazzo 3, Pau with 2, and Thomas of France with 1 point. Ben Thomas, 19 years of age, the French rider. Was a junior world champion in the points race. Very talented young rider indeed. There's a New Zealander. I know there's lots of New Zealand fans watching the broadcast. And so the New Zealander there on the front of the race is Regan Goff, who of course won in the team pursuit yesterday. So he's back here on the track already. The Japanese rider making an attack now, rides for Team Yukio, a 25-year-old, Kazushige Kuboki. We've seen him race a lot before. Wearing number 8, going away from the rest of the field. 3 laps until the next sprint. Just relaxing those hands, taking the weight off the back. 142 laps to go. And Kuboki now has an advantage on the rest of the field, led by that rider there, number 12, Wim Trottinger of the Netherlands, as he tried to shut the gap. But now the next sprint coming up. The leader, Czelarski of Poland, as the French rider Benjamin Thomas hits the front now of the race. The 19-year-old looking to get some more points on the board as soon as he can. And the French like that one. Trottinger takes the second place points. He takes 3. Ben Thomas takes 2 for France, and Mark Christian of Great Britain takes 1 point. Kuboki took the 5. He's now equal on points with Czelarski, 5 points each for those 2 riders, as the Japanese rider decides that it's worth still going. So he has a little bit of an advantage now on the rest of the field. And Kuboki trying to build his advantage. Pau now tries to go across the gap, being joined by the rider from Hong Kong, China. Is Kung Lok Chung. And still the Japanese rider has a little bit of an advantage on the rest of the field. DePauw trying to go across, a 23-year-old Belgian in the blue colours with a Belgian flag. And wearing number 1, King Lok Chung, an individual time trial champion of Hong Kong and a stage winner in the Tour of Korea, stage winner in the Tour of Hainan, good road rider. King Lok Chung with that advantage on the rest of the field, led by, again, Czelarski of Poland. And the Italian rider not prepared to do any work, Liam Bertazzo in the Azzurri blue of Italy. So the rider from Austria trying to shut the gap, that's Andreas Graf. 3 riders still clear, 135 laps of racing to go. The tempo still very high in this points race. No one has broken away too much so far. A little bit of a gap on the rest of the field. And still front of the race. The 3 riders, King Lok Chung, DePauw of Belgium, as we come up towards the next sprint. 133 laps of racing to go. DePauw leading the trio. Kuboki still in there for Japan, the 25-year-old rider. He is the rider who started this attack. He wants to hold on to try and get the points this time. He'd go top of the leaderboard. Here we go then. 1 lap to the next sprint as we hit 131 laps of racing to go. And it is going to be a sprint between DePauw and Kuboki. DePauw goes around the outside using his power. And now Kuboki looking to go top of the leaderboard as he challenges. He'll take 3. DePauw takes the 5. King Lok Chung takes the 2 points. And the German rider takes 1, and that is Maximilian Bayer. Kuboki then leads this points race. To summarise, with 130 laps to go, he has 8 points. DePauw of Belgium has 7. Czelarski have 5 points. They are the top 3 right now in this points race. Laps to go, and a little bit of an advantage again for Kuboki, who is refusing to give in on this possibility of getting away. But the Spanish rider finally closes the gap. Eloy Tyrrell goes to the top of the track. The standings right now: Kuboki of Japan with 8 points, DePauw with 7, Czelarski with 5. Bertazzo of Italy with 3 points, equal on points with Thomas and Strottinger. So Bertazzo just trying to sneak away if he possibly can. Another rider coming up to join him, the Belarusian rider, and that is Raman Ramanu. These 2 riders not fully committed, are they? They're just kind of wandering around the track right now. A little bit of an advantage. They swing up. The pace goes out. No one really prepared to take the initiative yet. The Italian rider just sneaks off the front. I noticed a little bit of information for you. You may remember that one rider, surprisingly, was maybe not surprising, but certainly if you go back through the record books and you look at the kilometre time trial we've just seen, one rider whose name sticks in your mind when you go back through the Palmares is Taylor Phinney, who of course won a medal just a few years ago in the 1 kilometre time trial. Just shows his versatility as a bike rider. And now the attack, and it is the Italian rider who just kind of nonchalantly rode off the front, but now he's going to notch up 5 points, which I think is going to put him pretty close to the lead here. But Tatso takes it. The Frenchman, as you can tell, in the background is going to take 2 points. Thomas and Sorry takes 3. Strottinger takes 2. And Czech Republic takes 1. So Batatso will go top of the leaderboard with Kuboki. DePauw will be in 3rd. Thomas will be in 4th. And is edging ever closer to the top of the leaderboard. 119 laps remain. Confirmation then on the screen of the standings. Liam Batatso, 8 points. Kuboki with 8. DePauw with 7. Thomas with 6. After 4 of the 16 sprints that we will see in this points race tonight. Everyone kind of looking around at each other at the moment. This pace is not rapid. It's more of a tactical race for this world title this evening. Don't forget, you can join us at UCI_track is the Twitter feed for track cycling. And if you want to follow the hour record of Dame Sarah Story next weekend, hashtag UCI Hour Record is the place to go. Sarah Story, the first female rider since Leontien van Moorsel to go for the hour record on the London track next weekend. Now an attack at the front for the Great Britain rider, Mark Christian. He comes from the Isle of Man. And again, the reaction happens. And it's the French rider who makes a move, the 19-year-old former junior world champion. The little bit of an advantage. 4 riders going clear as Ben Thomas works hard to get on the back of the string. Mark Christian goes to the top of the track, and Ben Thomas leads. 113 laps to go. Batatso of Italy is the leading rider. The American rider now trying to close the gap. He's involved in the action a lot. And that is the rider we mentioned just a little while ago, Nicholas Rogers, who comes from Philadelphia. One lap to go until the next sprint. The leading rider, Batatso of Italy. DePauw trying to go around the outside. He lies 3rd overall, the top spot Flandern professional. Leading out, though, is the Czech Republic rider, who is looking to win this one. Hacheki, he looks like he takes the 5 points. DePauw in 2nd with 3. Christian in 3rd with 2. And Thomas in 4th with 1 point, which leaves the standings with DePauw in the lead with 10. Batatso with 8, Kuboki with 8, and Ben Thomas of France with 7 points so far, as we see an attack from King Lok Chung of Hong Kong, China, trying to break the will of the rest of the field. Confirmation then of sprint at 110 laps to go. Standings after sprint 5. DePauw leads for Belgium. Batatso with 2. 2nd place, Kuboki in 2nd place. And there is DePauw in the blue of the Belgian team. Three riders now going clear, led by Andreas Graf of Austria. The Belarusian Ramanau is also in there, and Regan Goff of New Zealand, world champion in the team pursuit. Going clear now of the rest of the field. He must have slightly sore legs after last night, but maybe the morale is sky high. He's looking good. Such a young New Zealand team last night in that team pursuit. Very impressive performance. ...105 laps of racing to go. Nothing's got overly complicated yet. No teams, no riders have taken 20 points on the rest of the field. But now it is Eloy Teruel, the silver medalist in Minsk, who tries to stretch the pace. 104 laps to go. He's decided he wants to try and break away if he can. They catch King Lok Chung. Now the tempo has started to increase and big attack. And it's one rider trying to go clear again. It's the Belarusian in the red, white and green colours. No one really is getting away right now. Andreas Graf brings that attack back and goes to the top of the boards. Edwin Avila of Colombia, the world champion of last year, now starting to get involved in the action. Doesn't look as dominant as he was last year in the points race. Now Australia get involved in the action at the front. And it is Scott Law, the 24-year-old, who tucks into the wheels. Big move starting to happen. Ramanau goes round the outside. Regan Goff trying to stay in the wheels. Scott Law also involved in the mix. They hit the line, and it is 5 points to Ramanau. Scott Law of Australia with the 3 points. Goff takes 2, Bayer takes 1, and the standings will just switch around a little bit, not too much. De Pauw is the leader. Bertazzo of Italy with 8 points in second. Kaboki with 8 points. Thomas with 7 in 4th place. Czechy of Czech Republic with 5. Chelarski, Ramanau, Trottinger, all with 5 points each. Here's the standings after sprint number 6. .97 laps to go. And the attack now from Great Britain's Mark Christian as he goes clear of the rest of the field, opens up a big advantage very, very quickly. Goes to the top of the track, uses the banking to try and accelerate a little bit, but Christian now is the first rider who's actually got a big advantage on the rest of the field. The chase goes on. King Lok Chung is there. Christian doesn't look prepared to go for this, but he looks around again, drops down the banking. He's not 100% committed to this attack, but it might be that Mark Christian, if he's got the legs, can just try and break away. 95 laps to go. He clearly doesn't feel good enough to try and take a lap on the rest of the field. Just settling into his rhythm, hoping that someone will come across to him, but they don't, so he goes to the top of the track again. He looks down so high up there. And Mark Christian dives down the banking. Eloy Tyrrell goes to the front. The rider who's been on the podium twice in the last 2 years. Hasn't got the gold medal he's looking for. Tyrrell now accelerates hard. Christian is left hanging on the back of the group. Tyrrell, a little advantage. In the red and yellow of the Spanish squad, looking good as he goes clear. So the sprint lap coming up now. And Eloy Tyrrell is the rider who's slightly off the front. De Pauw is the leader of this race with 10 points from Belgium, heading up towards the next sprint. And it is going to be Eloy Tyrrell who takes the 5 points. And as you can hear in the background, Ben Thomas took 2 for the French squad. Bertazzo took 3, which puts him at the head of the standings now with 90 laps to go. That was the sprint for the 3rd and 4th places. Sprint number 7, Eloy Tyrrell takes 5, Bertazzo of Italy takes 3 points, Ben Thomas takes 2, and Cyril Thierry takes the 1 point in the points race. And the standings change a little bit. Liam Bertazzo with 11 points, 1 point ahead. He has got his mouth wide open. This is hurting a lot. So looking down here at the group of 4 riders. And on the front then is Edwin Avila of Colombia. 86 laps to go. So the attack now at the front, 85 laps to go. Remember, this is the points race that you're watching now. And 84 laps of racing remaining. Sprints every 10 laps, 5, 3, 2 and 1. And the New Zealand rider off the front, leading the group of 3 here. The New Zealander, Regan Goff, the world champion in the team pursuit last night. And now the Russian rider is Artur Urshov, a stage winner in the Tour of Qinghai Lake, one of the Asian races. So on the front then is King Lok Chung as we head towards a sprint lap. These 3 riders are getting close to taking a lap on the rest of the field, which would give them 20 points. So King Lok Chung is the rider who crosses there and takes the 5 points. King Lok Chung takes 5, Urshov takes 3, Goff takes 2, Bayer takes 1 point. So these 3 riders now are going clear. King Lok Chung, Urshov and Goff in danger now, taking 20 points, which would put them right at the top of the leaderboard. It would mean they would overhaul the rest of the riders. And King Lok Chung leads the trio. Artur Urshov and Regan Goff are about to take 20 points on the rest of the field. They're almost on the back of the race. 77 laps to go. And when they make contact, they'll get 20 points. The acceleration at the front of the riders who do not want them to get onto the string. And it is last year's champion, Avila, who's trying to break the will of the rest of the riders. But 20 points now awarded to those 3 riders. So this race is really stretched. There are the standings. The standings change. After sprint number 8, King Lok Chung, 27 points. Goff with 24, Urshov with 23. And again, 2 riders going clear. Scott Law and Avila. And the Belarusian trying to go across. So is the Frenchman, Ben Thomas. So we got 3 riders now going clear. The rider at the front, Ramanau of Belarus, Scott Law and Avila also there as they take some points. Ramanau takes 5, Law takes 3, Avila takes 2 and Thomas takes 1. And these riders now trying to take a lap on the rest of the field, which would mean that 7 riders have done so. Ben Thomas now on the front of the race, trying to tow this group across. And the German rider sensing the danger. If they make it, they'll also get 20 points. So Avia with Ramanau. Behind Ramanau is the French rider Thomas and Scott Law of Australia. "65 laps to go." And the current standings: King Lok Chung 27 points, Goff with 24, Ershoff with 23. They're the top three riders. And Eloy Teruel is the Spanish rider who's trying to get across. He's trying to shut the gap, and whilst they look like they were going to take the 20 points, it looks like the pace is going out of the four riders in front, and Regan Goff senses the danger for New Zealand. He's the rider who's trying to chase this one down because he's trying to protect his silver medal right now. He's trying to get some life into the chase. The German rider swings up as well. The Czech Republic rider is Wojciech Haceki. So the gap's starting to close. And it is the Russian rider, Artur Urchov, who also is ensuring that the gap is closing, but they've not managed to do it yet. Edwin Avia is in that leading group of the four riders. The lap sprint is coming up, and it is Ben Thomas of France who is at the front of the race now with a slight advantage. Now the German rider tries to jump across, just out of camera shot. So it is Ben Thomas of France being challenged here by Scott Law. Scott Law takes 5, Thomas will take 3. Avia takes 2, Ramanau takes 1. 60 laps remain, and still King Lok Chung is at the front of the race with 27 points. Goff in second with 24, Ershoff with 23. 10 laps gone, 10 sprints gone, 16 sprints in total, and still the race now comes back together. King Lok Chung has 27, Goff has 24, Ershoff has 23. So the peloton altogether, if you've just joined us now, 58 laps to go. No one, 3 riders have taken a lap. They are King Lok Chung of Hong Kong, China, Goff of New Zealand, Ershoff of Russia. They are top of the leaderboards with 27, 24 and 23 points. The rest of the field just a little bit further back. Thomas of France has 13 points. Patazzo and Ramanau and Law have 11 points. De Pauw of Belgium has 10. He was the early leader in this race. And the Spanish rider, Eloy Teruel, twice a medalist in this event in the last 2 years, has been involved in the action, but he really hasn't scored yet too well. He's still down in 11th place. He scored 5 points. As Kuboki, who tried to take a lap earlier on, now tries to go clear. It's very warm in here now, and these riders are certainly starting to suffer with tempo. 54 laps to go. So just another sneak off the front, and that is led by the Austrian rider Andreas Graf, twice second in the Austrian Time Trial Championships. And now the attack from Italy, and this was again another rider who led earlier on, Bertazzo with 11 points. He doesn't look fully committed. The American rider now trying to stir things up a little bit, and that is Nicholas Rogers. "51 laps to go." Coming up to the sprint lap again. Can this rider hold on and get a few more points? The Italian rider digging deep to hit the line then. He takes 5 points. Bertazzo, Bayer of Germany, takes 3. Ershoff scores 2 points, which moves him to 25 points in second place. Kuboki takes 1, and that leaves him in 9th place overall. Bertazzo now in 4th place, and he's actually got 16 points, and he hasn't taken a lap. So he is a few points down, 8 points down, but there's still the possibility of him closing up. 11 sprints gone of the 16 sprints. "48 laps to go." King Lok Chung at the front of the race. He is the leader. 4 riders trying to go clear again. But so far, King Lok Chung is sitting in the gold medal position. 4 riders clear, just ahead of the peloton. A slight advantage. A couple of riders trying to join in, but they didn't. So the leading rider is the rider from the Czech Republic in the blue, and that is Wojciech Hacecki. And the Austrian rider in the group, Andreas Graf, but now things are starting to come back together. So fast out here that no rider is really able to break the will of the rest of the field. Having seen those 3 riders initially do it, no one right now is able to break away again, but Avia's going to give it a go. He doesn't look as dominant as he did last year. He was almost able to just break away at will. It was Tom Scully of New Zealand last year who was in the mix to try and take the gold medal. This time it's Goff of New Zealand. "43 laps to go." On the front of the race, the Spanish rider, number 19 there is Maximilian Bayer. So with 43 laps to go, the standings look like this. King Lok Chung with 27 points, Ershoff with 25. From Russia, Goff of New Zealand with 24. There are further few sprints to come. They get 5, 3 and 2 and 1 point each, and 20 points if you take a lap. Still time for a rider to sneak away, take a lap and win this title. And it's the French rider who's delighting the fans on the front. Thomas of France. 13 points he has right now. This is going to put him on 18 points. Oh, photo finish between him and the Czech rider. In fact, I think it was the New Zealand rider, to be fair. So Thomas took 5. In fact, I think he took 3. So the New Zealand rider, Goff, took the 5. Thomas took the 3. Hacecki took 2. And it was 1 rider behind Ershoff, I think, who took 1 point then. Confirmation then that Goff took 5, Thomas took 3. Hacecki took 2 and Ershoff took 1 point. There we are on the screen. 12 sprints gone, 16 sprints to be accumulated during the night, and another big attack on the front of the race. And it is the Austrian rider who's going clear. The standings now are changing. Regan Goff of New Zealand is looking to take another gold medal here. And a warning for number 21, Hacecki, by the commissaire in the middle of the track. Kuboki of Japan slightly off the front of the race. 36 laps to go. Czechia there, number 21, given a warning by the commissaires. Not entirely sure why, but it might have been some shoving or something like that. And on the front of the race then, the man who is in second place in the red, King Lok Chung of Hong Kong, China. So the medals at the moment going to Regan Goff of New Zealand with 29, King Lok Chung with 27, Ershoff with 26. 5 points on offer for the first rider across the line every 10 laps. 20 points on offer for a rider who takes a lap on the rest of the field. 33 laps to go. And the American rider doing very, very well in his first World Championships here. Nicholas Rogers, because he's not funded at all by the United States, he had to raise his own funds to actually be here. $3,500 he had to raise, and the Philadelphia cycling community helped him to do that. And now he's competing at world level, and he's on the attack in a group of 4 riders trying to go clear. The next sprint coming up with 30 laps to go. It is the Italian rider, Bertazzo, who goes around the outside. Ershoff is going to pick up a few more points. That's going to help him in his aim to try and take this gold medal. So Ershoff takes the 3 points to move into second place behind Goff. Ramanel took 2, and Rogers of the United States took 1 point, leaving the standings with Regan Goff with 29 points, equal actually with Ershoff in equal first place. Chung now in third, Bertazzo moving a little bit closer, 21 points without taking a lap, to the 27 points to Chung, who has taken a lap on the rest of the field. There's the standings after sprint 13. Regan Goff and Ershoff, 29 points each. King Lok Chung with 27 points. Bertazzo of Italy, 21 points. Eloy Tyrrell making a late bid here to take the 20 points. If he can, he'd move him up, even not to a medal, because he is on, right now, only 5 points. But the standings as they are, both the top riders on 29 points, a real fight between them now. Regan Goff of New Zealand, Ershoff of Russia. Thanks for joining us on Twitter, at @McCrossan or @UCI_track is where you can join us this evening for tonight's racing. Any questions, any thoughts on the racing, what we're bringing you, anything like that, all very welcome indeed. Scott Law of the Australian team, the 24-year-old, breaking clear of the pack. American rider, he has made a good showing here in these World Championships. In this points race, you have to admire the way he's come in here to this American team, and he's racing really, really well. 4 riders now going clear. Scott Law of Australia, Eloy Tyrrell of Spain, the American rider from Philadelphia, Nicholas Rogers, and also in the group, the German rider, and he is clear as well, Maximilian Bayer, silver medalist in the European Team Pursuit Championships and a World Cup winner in the Omnium in Cali in Colombia. One more sprint coming up now, and that is the sprint with 20 laps to go, and it's the German who's going to take this. Bayer is going to take the maximum points. Oh no, he's not. Spoke too soon. Scott Law is going to take 5. Bayer takes 3. Tyrrell takes 2. Rogers takes 1 point. The results then of sprint 13, which I don't know are entirely correct, because the German rider and Scott Law were first across the line. 18 laps to go. I'm sure we'll get a change on that in a minute. And they're still clear, the two riders who are ahead of the field in the group of 4. So the German rider still trying to press on a little bit here. Maximilian Bayer. Cyril Thierry of Switzerland has just lost 20 points. Maximilian Bayer is off the front of the race, still has an advantage on the rest of the field. So we'll just check the points in a second, because sprint points 13 on my screen aren't quite right. But it's saying, as you saw, Bertazzo took 5, but it was the German rider and Scott Law who were off the front. And any moment now, Maximilian Bayer is going to take 20 points, and he has done. So Maximilian Bayer is going to move on to 26 points, which he does. He's now in 4th place. He's making this race now look interesting. Scott Law, can he find the legs to get across to the leaders? And we've still got a few little corrections to happen, I think, after the previous sprint. And hopefully we'll get those on the screen in a second. 13 laps to go. There we are. Sprint 14 was Scott Law, Bayer, Teruel and Rogers. And now we'll have a little look at the overall standings with 12 laps to go. Hirschoff leads, 30 points. Regan Goff with 29, Bayer with 29, Kinloch Chung. Any moment now, we're going to see another rider take a lap. The American rider is about to catch the field as well. Well, this is impressive. Scott Law is desperately trying to get there. And if Scott Law gets there, he's going to be well at the top of the standings. He has to try and make it. This is a big, big ditch attempt to try and win the medals. 10 laps to go. Rogers takes 5 points. Teruel takes the 3. Scott Law takes 2. Hirschoff takes 1. Can this American rider, who is making his debut in the World Championships, take a lap? Teruel also is going to try and take a lap too, and that would put him on 30 points. Suddenly this race is going to totally change. Scott Law of Australia doesn't have the legs. The results after the major sprints, sprint 15. It's getting really close now. Can Teruel get across? The American rider looks like he's totally tying up. But Eloy Teruel, with this one, he could be putting himself in the medals. He has to catch the biggest group of riders on the track. He can't catch the back markers. Arthur Hirschoff leads with 31 points. Regan Goff with 29. Bayer with 29. But Teruel, if he catches the entire field here, will get 20 points, and he will go to the top of the... He will go into second place, I think. So he'll end up in the silver medal position. What a ride by Teruel. But behind him, the Ukrainian rider is also going to do the same. Hirschoff leads with 31 points. Teruel with 30. Goff with 29. The Ukrainian rider now about to get across to the field. That's Hirnev. Hirnev hasn't got very many points at all, so he'll just go into the top few places. But if the American rider can get there before this, he will end up on 27, and he has to go for the final sprint of the night, and he could nick himself a medal. 5 laps to go. What a performance by this young American rider. Hirschoff leads, 31 points. Teruel takes 30. In second, Regan Goff with 29. Bayer with 29. So it's a fight for the medals. This American rider, can he get there? He's running out of laps. The Ukrainian rider is also there. A big attack at the front, and it is Bertazzo who's trying to take the 5 points. It's all about Arthur Hirschoff with 31, Teruel with 30, and Regan Goff with 29, and Bayer with 29. It's going to come down to this final sprint of the night. 5, 3, 2 and 1 on offer. We are very, very close now to the end of this race. Artur Urshov is in a perfect position. He almost hits a wheel and crashes, actually, off the here, but the American rider is about to take a lap as well. He is going to take a lap. Well, 1 lap to go now for the leader. They get the bell. It's all going to come down to this finishing sprint. Artur Urshov needs to take the points if he can. He's looking to try and get in here. It is very, very close. 5 points is going to go to the Italian. It's going to be Urshov doesn't take anything, but I think he's going to take the win. It is going to be Artur Urshov of Russia who will take 31 points and will be the world champion, but we'll just get confirmation. What a race that turned out to be on the run into the finish. Urshov with 30, Terrell with 30, and then it's count back between Regan, Goff and Bayer for the bronze medal. But the world champion will be Artur Urshov of Russia. He's looking, he wants to know, did I get it, did I not? And the judges give him the nod, and Artur Urshov is the world champion, I think, here. We're just, of course, just double checking, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. Artur Urshov of Russia, 31 points on my scoreboard. Terrell with 30, Goff with 29, Bayer with 29. It's all about the bronze medal as to who's going to get that. As soon as I get absolute confirmation on my screen, I will make sure you know. So the Russian flag is out. Artur Urshov is the world champion for Russia. He just followed all the right moves. He got the points when he needed to. The American coach just trying to understand, did the American rider get on? But you actually have to catch the biggest group of riders on the track. They're deemed the peloton, and the American rider never quite got there. So sprint number 16, Rogers takes 5, Batazzo takes 3, Ramanel takes 3 to Batazzo, 2 to Ramanel, 1 to Kaboki, leaving the point standings looking like this. Artur Urshov takes 31, Teruel in silver medal position with 30, our scoreboard showing Bayer at 29 points in 3rd, Regan Goff in 4th place with 29 on countback. But that's the only question mark right now, but it looks like that's confirmed by the judges. Artur Urshov, the world champion. If Scott Law and the American rider Rogers had got there, then that would have completely changed the standings at the end of the points race. A fantastic run-in to the finish. There's the results then. Artur Urshov, 31 points, is the world champion for Russia. Eloy Teruel of Spain takes 30 points, takes the silver medal. Maximilian Bayer, 29 points in bronze medal position. There's the rundown of the next places down to 14th place. And there's the rest of the standings. The only rider not to finish, Cyril Thierry of Switzerland.